guys, and welcome to Ask Low. If you don't know, then get to know. We are in a rush because your boy was late once again. But yeah, I'm just going to start reading your dilemmas. If you've already listened to last episode, so you know who this is. Donnie Sunshine. If you don't know, then get to know. Links below. I love it when things rhyme. So first dilemma. This is by pronouns they them, 24-year-old from Lewisham, London. Right. Title is, my partner can be really selfish and I don't know how to discuss it with them. How do you politely tell them they're selfish? Dilemma. For my graduation celebration, we were supposed to travel to Spain. They're currently in a 40k a year job. At 24, good for you. A 40k a year job that they will be leaving before our trip. It was a 2-year contract. They said they no longer want to go on said trip because they want to save money. Disappointing, but I understand. They have now booked 2 holidays. One during the time we were supposed to go to Spain. They'll be going to Japan. And they keep talking about other expensive plans such as festivals and stuff. What would you do in this situation? I can't straight up tell them they're selfish as I don't want an argument, but emotionally I can't move on from this. So your graduation celebration was meant to be in Spain, your partner earns 40k a year and was aware of your graduation celebration in advance. They said they don't want to go on the trip to save money, and since then they have booked 2 trips. One during the duration that you were meant. That is very selfish.
It's very selfish.
And selfishness is okay.
Selfishness is okay. I think one of the things I tell people all the time is people will treat you how you allow them. So I think it goes back into blind spots. Sometimes people think that you're okay with things that you're not okay with.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to I feel first and foremost, communication is the cornerstone of any relationship. You can't talk too much. Always speak. When it comes to things about how you feel, I always say stick to that. Talk about how you feel. Never project. Never tell someone what their actions are because they're automatically defensive. If I say, I think you're being selfish because you did this, you did that, automatically they're defensive and they're going to come on the...
Yeah, because that's an accusation.
It is. Where if you say, you booking 2 holidays has made me feel like you don't actually care about going away with me, it makes me feel like you don't appreciate, you know what I'm saying, what I just did, my graduation. All you say, so I would definitely break down and say how you feel about that and ask them, do you realize that by doing that it could make me feel like this?
Yeah.
And it gives them an opportunity to be like, oh, I didn't realize that, I'm sorry, I'll try and rectify it or whatnot. If they then turn up and be like, no, you're being extra and start gaslighting you, that's a clear red flag. Yeah. And because I feel like if you're in a relationship and you tell your partner how you feel and they don't automatically try and understand you or see your perspective, that's going to lead to bigger problems down the line. You can't avoid that because that's perspective. You can't change it. Yeah. So I would say give them the opportunity to know how you feel, and then from there, how they respond will let you know if it's a relationship you can move forward with. That's my advice.
I also feel like because I can be a bit strict sometimes, but I feel like in this situation, give your partner the benefit of the doubt in the sense that like, a lot of the times people don't know how important things are to us.
Yes.
Because to most of my friends, the way that they talked about their graduation ceremonies, it's almost like, I have to go to my graduation.
Right.
Like your partner might just see this as just another trip.
Yeah.
If you have downplayed your graduation or haven't even like emotionally emphasized that, oh, I'm really excited or this is important to me.
Yes.
Your partner might just see it as, it's just a casual trip to Spain where you just happen to be graduating.
Yes.
I think you need to let them know, oh, this is really important to me, like, and I felt a bit let down because I was really excited to go with you. And like, I really understand the money thing, but it just feels a bit inconsiderate considering I think have a conversation. I mean,
one more thing to add as well, because you just brought up a good point, is check your own blind spots. So, like you said, that holiday might not have seemed important to him or that person, I don't actually know their gender, and I would say, find out if this trip to Japan is something they want to do for a long period of time. This could be something on the back burner for the last 5 years, and now they're leaving the job, this is their opportunity to do that. Yeah, so it might not be a thing where it's like, oh, I didn't want to do, the Spain trip might not be something they just look forward to, that might not be the type of trip. Whereas Japan might be something as well as the festivals. Do they go to festivals every year? Is this a yearly thing they do? This isn't something they're just doing now to spite you. It might be something that they do all the time. So check those things as well.
Yeah. Also, because I mean, obviously we're from London, so like Spain can feel like a bit of a domestic trip to us. Whereas like Japan is like, you know, you have to really like plan your trip right, like get in a certain time window, that kind of stuff. So I think like you need to discuss everything, all of the nuances of the trips. See if there's a way you can compromise. Like you know, maybe they stop over in Spain on their way to Japan, and then maybe you go and meet them out in Japan after your graduation. Also, congrats on graduating, because it's not easy. I am a 2-time dropout, so good on you. And yeah, let us know how it goes. Okay. Should I cut my best friend off? This is by a 19-year-old boy. I love it when boys write in. More boys need to write, please, thank you. So I've been friends with this guy since sixth form, and we're now heading into our second year of uni. We're at different unis. Throughout our friendship, he's made comments to put me down and gets angry when I best him at anything like video games. I know, it's
really condescending, but I was like,
I didn't realise how weird this was until it was time to apply to universities. I had to choose between a higher ranked and a lower ranked Russell Group uni. Everyone else recommended the higher ranked one, but instead he insisted on the lower ranked one without any valid reason. Randomly, he'll even send me skewed rankings showing his uni firm choice is higher than both of mine. Objectively, he was wrong. They put stuff in brackets, which is not important. We argued, and I started to ignore him after realising he wanted me to go to a lower ranked uni than his. I ended up going to the higher ranked uni, good on you, and had an amazing time.
You sure did.
Including my first sexual and romantic experience as a gay man.
I was right. Yes, there you go, girl. You better get it.
The kids are alright.
They are all
The kids are alright. Congrats, my love. When I posted about it on my close friend story, he posted a story saying, "Is giving delusional." 1 minute later, he was the only one who viewed my story and didn't reply, which felt targeted. Later, he posted another story cussing me out, saying he'd been trying to reach me and calling me a bitch. My communication was partly at fault, as I was busy and needed a break from my phone. We made up, but I was advised not to bring up the "it's giving delusional" and university incidents. We've moved on and are cordial. When I called him out, I requested a break instead of cutting him off, but he ignored this and acted like everything was normal. Was this envy or jealousy? Should I cut him off? Yes, 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 and yes. Get rid of the kids.
Gone.
I feel like this is one where it's like, you know, there's actually demons in life. Like, I was literally thinking about a situation recently where I don't want to talk about that actually. Yeah, it's too vague. But no, I think sometimes in life there are friends who are so used to you being in a position in relation to them. Whether it's you're the pushover friend, or you're the friend who's always humble and not that confident about their life choices and whatnot. So as you start to grow up and you're able to advocate for yourself more and you have more confidence in your decisions and you're not consulting them or deferring to them as much, or they're not like a peg above you anymore, it can be really confusing to them because it makes them question their own place in life and things like that. I think your friend probably grew to resent you as you kind of like grew into yourself more. Your friend is probably going through some things of his own, and that's not your friend. Get rid of him. I don't think it even needs to be a conversation. I actually don't think you need to ever speak to this person again. This person is a witch. Like, remove him from your close friends first of all. Like, no, this person's actually a demon.
I think you're still young, and what you're gonna realize is that literally some people in your life for a reason and some for a season, and I feel like you literally take that with a grain of salt and like cherish and remember all the good times you have with this person, and also take the life lessons. I think people will show you who they are no matter what they say, and he's shown you time and time again that he clearly doesn't necessarily have your best interests at heart, or he can't be happy for you when you do have good things going for you, and that's the worst type of energy to have around. They might be going through their own insecurities. We all got issues, we all got different traumas and stuff, so they might not even be intentional. It might just be something very reactive, and there might be something about you that triggers this person. Nevertheless, you still don't deserve that. You deserve to have people around you that celebrate you and uplift you. So the fact that you're in separate universities is a good thing because it automatically gives you that proximity difference and separation. And I feel like a good phase out. I feel like a life of what I'm saying, if you feel like you need to have the whole we can't be friends anymore, sometimes that causes more drama than necessary. I feel like when you get older and you're in different spaces, you can just naturally phase out.
Just live your life.
And if this person if he shows like you're actually important to him and he makes an effort and he's doing all these things, then you can bring these things up and say, to be honest, I distanced myself because these instances and I didn't feel comfortable. And then his reaction will let you know whether he actually wants to improve on the friendship, or if he just comes back and spiteful and like I said, gaslights you, like no. They'll be like, okay, it's fine, I understand. I think it's best that we just separate, make separates from now.
Yeah, I say really immerse yourself into your own personal life. the new friends you're making, the new experiences you're having, your education, because be reading your books, please.
It's not
please. Be reading your books. Like, be getting your money's worth. But and I feel like, because I've had that in past friendships where, you know, you're very parallel to someone for a long time, and then whether it's uni or work or like even social life, you aren't as enmeshed anymore, and then the friend starts to show resentment towards you. Maybe because of like, who knows, he could have abandonment triggers. Like, he could be triggered just by the fact that you're going to a different uni from him and you're becoming your own person, having these new exciting experiences without him. Like, I think that is really triggering for people in general. And I think obviously give him the grace of that, but I don't think it's a thing. I don't think you need to stay friends.
No.
Yeah, this is not somebody who you can even trust to like have your best interests at heart. Like, like, you know, your best friend, you want to run to them like anytime something happens. It's like, I'm really excited about this. Like, I had my first experience with this guy, and and then they're privately like steaming over the fact that you did something about them.
That's only gonna, it's literally, it will affect your self-esteem. You need to let go. Yeah.
Okay. Next dilemma. Another boy. Age 24, London. Title is my girlfriend despises arguing, but only ever argues with me. Dilemma. It's not really an issue. It's more a matter of, do I just not bring up things that may bother me to her, or do I just regress into the cold, hard, emotionless shell I've been perfectly cultivating since I was 10 and never mention anything that may bother me?
Oh wow! You know what? We love a self-aware girl. We love a girl self-aware.
You might need to get on the podcast. Firstly, you said it's not really an issue. It is an issue because it's bothering you. It's making you consider regressing into a very bad version of yourself, an unhealthy version of yourself. Like, she is triggering your inner child, and I think you need to write down some of these triggers and ways in which she communicates that trigger you and whatnot, and how it makes you feel and how the thoughts that you have, and present it in a very calm, neutral way where it's like it's almost like she's not the problem. It's like you guys are trying to fix the problem together. I feel like we're having communication breakdown. Sometimes I feel a bit triggered or insecure, or I don't feel like I can, be as much of myself around you as I used to be, and see how that goes. I wish we knew what the arguing is about, because it might not be what she's arguing about, but how she's doing it.
And it might be the way you argue. I think this is the thing. Like, you seem self-aware up to a point, but if there's what was it that she doesn't like arguing, but she always argues with him. So there might be something in the way that you approach her or the way that you engage. So maybe actually ask her. I feel like there's nothing wrong with being like, I feel like we argue a lot. I feel like you only seem to argue with me. Is there something that I'm doing that makes you feel frustrated, or do you feel, I don't know, there's something in my behaviour, and I feel like just learning that, because I go back to what I said before, communication is such an important part of a relationship. It's only going to build resentment, you're only going to pull away further and further, and you're just going to waste your time. So if you don't feel like, you can't be on eggshells, that's so you're going to build so much anxiety, it's just too much, so you need to be able to find a way. So I would definitely speak to her and be like, and don't accuse her, don't, like I said before, don't go to her and be like, you're doing these things wrong. Be like, I've noticed we argue a lot, I want to know, is it something that I'm doing that triggers you, that makes you feel like you have to be defensive, or and I think that might give you a bit of an answer, perspective.
Even come to her with hey, how are you? How are you? What has changed? Are you good? Is there anything as you said, is there anything that I'm doing that's upsetting you, and maybe when you're not communicating it in the, because sometimes there's the real issue and then the issue that you communicate. Because I'm kind of the same. I'm someone where I do not tolerate arguing.
Yeah.
In my person, because I grew up with that, I live with that, and it has almost killed me. Right. I do not believe that any of the personal relationships that I choose as an adult, there's no conflict or problem that cannot be resolved calmly and diplomatically.
Oh yeah.
You should never need to raise your voice, because I will never raise my voice at you unprovoked.
Yeah.
So I'm just because that's a big trigger for me. Because even reading that, I was just I can't even have friends who argue with me. I love playful debate. We can have a heated debate.
It makes you look at flies. It's like, you wanna argue with me. But I would say, in my relationship, we don't argue. We have disagreements.
Yeah.
And we have conflict. But there's never a level of disrespect. I've never shouted. I've never raised my voice. I never called him out of his name to him. And for me, luckily we both had the same temperament, so it makes sense. I couldn't be with someone that argued or like aggressive, and it also depends on, because they're saying the word argue, but argue might mean something to different people. So argue might not necessarily be shouting, it might just be we're disagreeing all the time. So, but for me, like, because disagreement is healthy, it shows growth, it shows, you know, conflict that needs to be resolved, but it should never be in a place where it's disrespectful. That's unnecessary, it's toxic.
I would love to know what the arguments were about. If you want to send a follow-up, please do. Okay, this one is sent in by a 23-year-old girl from Portsmouth. Title is Scared I'll Be Pining for a Relationship Forever. Oh, child.
And how 23?
Bless you. Last summer I fell into my first adult relationship. It took me completely by surprise, and even though the relationship was only 6 months, it completely changed the way I feel about love and relationships. I've always been extremely independent, taking myself on dates and doing my own thing with my friends and family, and they would all affirm how content I am in my own company. And to this point, for about 6 years, I never once thought about looking for a relationship or even desiring one consciously. I used to look down on people who were pining for a significant other. My relationship was extremely meaningful for me because as a trans woman, it was the first time I'd ever been viewed as more than a sexual object. With my ex, I felt truly loved, and I hate to say it, but with this experience of romance with this man, it made me believe that I can experience romance and partnership as a trans woman. I felt like we connected, not just romantically, but as people. We shared a similar sense of humour, and I felt like he really got me. Moreover, I realised that although I'd been independent and content in my own company, I'd also been extremely lonely, but I hadn't realised it. With my ex, I felt like I had someone to make me feel safe in the world, who cared if I had to walk home in the dark by myself, who would ask me how a job interview went, etc. Since the breakup in December, I've been healing, focusing on myself. I found a new job, started earning better money, focused on my hobbies, and achieved personal goals that have made me extremely happy. All things I felt I couldn't focus on because the relationship grew to be very toxic. But I felt this deep sense of emptiness in my life. I'm extremely lonely, and I feel the loneliness comes from having experienced partnership and romance and now no longer having it. It feels like all I do is go to work or sit at home. I know people say to focus on Child, my mouth is dry, you can type, child. I know people say to focus on friendships, but I feel like this relationship was so healing to me emotionally and spiritually, and I feel like this longing to find another one. The short taste of the one experience I experienced last year felt so good. I don't know if I'll ever stop craving that companionship, and I'm now like the people I once looked down on. Sorry. Haha. Love you. And I'm also worried that I'll never find that same love again. Like, that last relationship was a complete fluke. Thank you. Firstly, it's not a fluke. You're amazing. All of the things that man made you feel are things that exist within you. You deserve that. You are lovable. You are valuable. You are a spectacular woman, and other people will see that in due time. Sorry, I'm having to go back and.
What I'm getting from that is, I think. It's the bittersweet taste of kind of like your first love or that first feeling of love, and like you don't require it until like it's like you get addicted, you get the taste of it. But the beautiful thing is that it seems to show you the level of value and love that you deserve, and that is accessible to you. I can't speak on the walk or the experience of a trans person, so I know the privilege that my experience has, but I do know that we do protect us queer people as people outside of the cis-norm, heteronormative world. We sometimes close ourselves off to things that we don't feel like we can get, will get, or are deserving of. So I'm, as much as you're going through it now, I'm just so glad and happy for you that you've had that experience. And I want you to kind of, instead of taking it as a negative of like, will I ever have this again, I want you to realize that you are worthy of it and you have received it and you will receive it, but you won't receive the same thing, you will receive something better, because you're going to become better and you're going to love yourself more, you're going to grow, and the more you love yourself, the more you grow, the more you open yourself up to receiving that love from someone who knows how to give it in a less toxic way. So it hurts, and trust me, whether you're straight, gay, trans, non-binary, cis, we all go through this stage in our 20s where we have that first experience and then we feel like we're never going to love again and no one's ever going to be with us, and it honestly passes. And once you grow and you learn, you realize, okay, I'm going to have experiences, and you're going to have other heartbreaks. It's very unlikely you're going to be the next person that'll be with you for the rest of your life. That's just how life is. But take it as experiences, and yeah, as hard as it is, it's still a blessing. I'm glad you've had this experience, and I just hope you get even more, and I'm sure you will get even more experiences like this, like that.
Yeah. Also, being someone who is currently based in Portsmouth, I don't know how the scene is over there, and whether you do commute to like, you know, big cities and whatnot, but I know that dating as a queer person in like certain places in the UK can be really isolating. So I would say consider using apps and social media to kind of like be a bit more intentional about your search. If you are actively searching to have an intentional relationship, it can be a great way to make friends as well. See if there's any like, you know, like social or like community events that you could attend. Like, I mean, it's fucking Pride Month. Like, I'm sure there's some. I'm sure you can get down to London for a weekend and, you know, mingle. You might make some like, you know, like queer or trans friends who can then bring you into social spaces where there's a lot more people who might be the type of people that you're looking to date.
I like to say also, you utilize your community. I think one thing that people do with me, I think as a DJ, I DJ in a lot of queer spaces, and I navigate a lot of queer spaces, and people reach out to me from outside of London, outside of the UK. A lot of Americans, when they come into the UK, they'll message me and they'll be like, "Where do you think is a good place to go? Where would I be able to meet other Black queer people?" I would definitely say use the internet, use social media to find event organizers and you know, leaders in different areas and creatives. Not everyone's going to be receptive, and I understand that. I'm a very receptive person. Once I go through my messages, I will always try and respond, and I will be like, "Oh, these are the places that I think would be good for you. What type of music do you like? What are you looking for?" And I think, like you said, it might not be London, it might be Brighton, it might be somewhere closer, you know, that might have something. It might be something in Portsmouth, who knows? There might be things in your community, and just reaching out and be like, because for us, for me anyway, a lot of how I met my partner is socially, being out and being in spaces. And I think a lot of people from our community, we navigate in different spaces, and that allows us, we have to kind of be around each other because we don't have the same freedoms. And like I said, I know it's different for a trans woman. I know it's not the same. You're not necessarily going to be dating a gay man, so it's a lot more complicated. But I definitely feel like navigating spaces, even if it's socially, where you can meet more friends, you can introduce you to more people, and you know. So I think that might give you a bit more possibilities.
Yeah, because I think what people don't realize about dating is that very little about dating is about dating. Dating is about friends. It's about community. It's about being open. It's about being curious. It's about communication. It's about defying everything that you have become comfortable with, right? And as someone who is like extremely hyper independent, I know that independence is great, but hyper independence is not. Hyper independence, the reason it's called hyper independence is because it's unhealthy, right? And hyper independence, I don't know your situation, I'm only operating based on assumptions and my own experience, right? But hyper independence usually comes from being unable to rely on adults, authority figures, and loved ones, in youth or as you're growing up, and usually like hyper independent people, we tend to close ourselves off and become super self-reliant, so that we are never in a position where we have to ask someone for help or we have to rely on someone and then they let us down like we were let down as kids or in our youth and whatnot. You don't have to be like that. And I think you got so comfortable with that, and then having a relationship where you kind of like, you know, get to like unclench and like you realize that, like I don't have to do everything by myself. And then having that taken away from you in like unfortunate circumstances, while it being a toxic relationship, and then having to go back into the world, like it's almost like a confirmation bias thing, because the fact that relationship turned out toxic, your brain goes, yeah, like I was right, like I can't rely on anyone, like it really is just me against the world, and once again I'm all alone and blah blah, and it's so easy to like come into those self-affirming cycles, but the cycles will continue to affirm themselves unless you get the hell up get on the phone or go to a, I don't know, like a fucking karaoke night or something. Like just do something because you're so beautiful and you're so worthy of being loved, but you need to let yourself, like you need to let yourself. You can't do it from your bedroom. And that's yeah. Feel free to message me. I don't know when this is gonna come out. I don't know the exact day, but if you message me, I'm always outside. I can usually point someone to an event or two that might be interesting. It might not necessarily be a queer event, but it will usually be an event that's good vibes, whether you're queer or not. Again, you can message Donnie or follow Donnie because he's always posting like events and stuff like that. So yeah, follow a lot of DJs, I would say. Yeah. Okay. 25. She, her. America has a problem. Title is To Hurt Out or Settle Down. That is the question. Oh, America has a big problem. I'm gonna call this girl America for this dilemma. I'm recently coming out of a serious relationship, almost 8 years, and I'm struggling with trying to transition into not viewing every romantic encounter with the same serious undertone I did with my last relationship. I'm not used to going with the flow and not taking things too seriously. I'm not used to dating around. I don't even know how to flirt anymore. And I've never had a hoe phase. I'm also talking to someone who's wanting to approach me in a serious manner, but part of me thinks it would be unwise to jump back into something serious right now. I'll have people approach me who I do take interest in, but I can see myself just naturally wanting to prioritize my more serious talking stage, and those new interests end up fizzling out pretty quickly. I guess I'm basically asking, how do I go about not being so attached? Should I try and have a hoe phase? Should I see where this serious talking stage takes me? Any advice would help. Thank you. I'm going to pass the mic over to you, but before I do, I just wanted to... You know when people ask me, like, should I have a hoe phase? That always rings a bell in my head. If you're asking me, I don't think you want it that badly. And, I mean, I always encourage people to try things, but I don't want to tell you to have a hoe phase, because I don't want you to now think that this is going to fix my problem, and, like having a hoe phase is gonna, acclimatize me to being in casual situations, and I'm gonna learn how to be super casual and be a freak, and because you might I don't know, like fuck 6 guys in 1 week and come home and cry at the end of the week and be like, do you know what, this isn't hitting for me, like I'm still geared towards a serious relationship. I think just be open to experiences. I think you should keep seeing the person that like is interested in you, but find a way to dial it back if you find it too serious for you. Maybe see him less frequently, maybe start hanging out with other people more so that you have less time for him. I don't know. What would you say?
I would agree with you. I would definitely say stop comparing yourself to other people. Everyone's got different experiences and different processes. There's nothing about anything that you said that makes me feel like you want to have a whole phase. You don't want to have a whole phase. You feel like it's something you're supposed to do when you come out of a long relationship because people say. Same people say you should get married and you should have children, and they're miserable too. There's no one way to be happy. I think if you're someone that enjoys and prioritizes serious long-term relationships, then do that. I feel like coming out of 8-year relationship, yes, there's going to be things, but we don't know the ins and outs. You could have been coming out of that relationship for the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know how that works. And if you feel like you're still attached to your partner, if you haven't healed enough, then I would say maybe just take some time by yourself and don't engage with anyone and just get to know yourself again. And then after that point, I would definitely say interact with the people that are more serious, because you're a serious person. Don't waste anyone's time. They don't seem to be wasting your time. That's the best thing. Everyone doesn't need to have a whole phase, because some whole phases last forever and some whole phases never start. And you know what I'm saying? Some people get married and they're still hoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is the thing. So I definitely would say just go with what is natural to you. Don't go against the grain because you feel like you're supposed to. Stick to what you know and what works for you.
And I think because I'm obsessed with like language. I'm super into like, I find the way that people write things is very telling. America use the word should a lot, and I'm here to tell you that there is no should. There isn't. There is nothing that you should do. There is no schema that you have to follow. Just do what feels good. Okay, like you can do anything you want to. I'm someone who I'm very cautious of. You know, like when people enter into a serious relationship straight after being in a long-term serious relationship. I am very cautious of that, but I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's the fact that you're even like kind of wary of that. I think it's fine if you
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it depends. Like I said, it depends on the circumstance. If you're someone who can't be alone and you're only going into a relationship because you're scared of being by yourself, that's a different conversation. But like I said, there's some people that actively just like to sleep around, and that's what they like to do. And some people like to be in relationships because that's what they like to do. As long as it's the person and you're prioritizing this person versus being in a relationship, that's the only thing I would analyze. But if you really like this person, I wouldn't say, okay, I can't be with them because I've just come out of this and it's only been 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Do the work that you feel like you need to do. Make sure you're not carrying any baggage, and then just be upfront and be honest with that person. Say, I've come out of something for 8 years. I really like you, but can we take it slow because I don't want to mess this relationship up by jumping straight into it. If that person likes you, they will listen and they will actually follow because they don't want to be hurt either. So
I'm like, but when you tell this guy like what you just said, like how you're feeling and all of your anxieties, I'm like, he might have the solution. You know, so a lot of the time we keep things in our head, which is something I'm very guilty of. And if you actually just voice how you're feeling, he might say something that like makes something click in your head, just like, oh, I can do this, or like, like maybe I actually don't have to make any decisions now. I would also recommend going out with your girlfriends more, like a lot of the social time that you would have spent with this previous partner, like just do more things with your friends. And I think naturally being in different social environments and seeing other people have certain social behaviors, you'll kind of figure out what seems desirable to you. So like you might see one of your hoe friends like, you know, like flirting with a guy and like getting his number, like I don't know, going home with him, and you might look at that and be like, oh, like, I kind of want to do that too. Like that excites me. Or you might look at it and be like, good for you, not for me.
Because the things that you might like might not be the things that you get from having a whole face. That's the thing. When you're in a relationship, you might be, I want to watch TV with someone and watch my favorite shows and we talk about it. I want to go to a family event and, you know, cuss the family that we don't like. That might be the things that you want to do. It might not be getting your back blown and then feeling lonely 20 minutes after they've left. So that's why you have to be very intentional with what it is that you want, because it might not work for you.
And I feel like, I love the phrasing hoe phase, but I feel like people need to understand hoe phase does not have to mean I'm fucking like every fucking week. Like, a hoe phase can be like, do you know what? I'm just gonna like be a bit more like adventurous and flirt with people more online, just to relearn how to flirt.
I think
that's practice.
A hoe phase for me is like the concept of entering something without the intention of it becoming something long term. So it doesn't even have to be sexual. It might just be, I just want to go on dates and have fun without trying to make it into something, and enjoying being present with this person, because I know this isn't my husband, this isn't the father of my kids, this is not that, but we have a good time at the club.
I would actually advise that, you know? Just go on some dates for the sake of going on dates. Because do you know this dilemma, I think this is the last dilemma I'm going to do right now, but this dilemma actually brought up some personal insecurities of my own. I am a very confident person. I'm a very social person. I'm a very sexual person. I don't have sex, and a lot of that is avoidance. A lot of that is my living situation. But sometimes I look at my peers, or I internalize the projections other people have of me. Because I'm like, if you just see me tweeting online, or you just listen to the podcast, or you just see me out like being a flirt, you would probably assume that like I'm having sex a lot more frequently than I do, right? And I feel like I really internalize this expectation, which I don't know if it's like that I want, because I have sexual desires, I want to do these things sometimes, right? But I actually don't think I want to do it as much as I feel like I should be doing it. Because I'm like, right now I'm like, it's summer, I'm hot, everyone's outside, like I feel like I should be utilizing the very small window of good weather that we have in this UK. That was just a thought, but I'm gonna come back to that on the podcast, because I
think that's very intriguing. There's a lot of questions I have for the back of that, but that might have to be. I don't know. But I'm just intrigued. I
mean, we can keep rolling, because I think so you wouldn't know this, but I recently broke my celibacy.
Okay.
Actually, technically it's not celibacy, it's abstinence, because I don't know. Basically, the one that's not religious, right?
Yeah.
I started being sexually active again after.
How long was your abstinence?
A year, with one exception. And before that, I had also I think in total I've done about 3 years, like across the last like 6 or 7 years.
And what was the intention for these? What was the intention for the last one?
The last one was not really knowing what was going on with me or life or anything. So I live at home with my mum, so I don't have people around. So a lot of it is my type. I'm 25. Most black men my type live at home, and I love it. I love certain aesthetics as well. I'm very picky. So I'm like, a lot of the men who exist within those aesthetics are either straight people cosplaying as alternative or queer, or they're people who are only just now discovering their queerness. I came out when I was 14. So I'm already a decade ahead of most of my peers. I've done all of the things, I've done the work, all of the questions that they're asking themselves, that's like child's play to me. And so I'm like, I have really fulfilling friendships with men where I'm just like, I love seeing them work through the queerness. I'm like, happy for you, but I'm like, that you don't work for me. I need somebody who is like, and I think a lot of my sexuality is very platonic as well. Like, I think the type of people that I would most want to have sex with are people that I call my friends. Not saying that I want to fuck specific friends, more so like, oh, do you know what, when I make a list of the people I most want to fuck, a lot of them end up being my friends or mutuals or people I have a rapport with.
Do you feel like so do you feel like a lot of the friendships that you have, attraction plays a part to it? And not that, but like physical attraction as well as emotional connection and stuff like that.
Oh yes, definitely. Like, I can say hands down, all of my like close or good guy friends are not because I want to fuck them, but because we have a very romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And that's not me saying that I'm like sitting there being delusional, like, oh like he's like my man. More so like the level of empathy, openness, expressiveness, as a words of affirmation, babe.
Yeah.
It's like the language we've developed within our friendship fills that kind of like romantic void.
But where does the platonicness lie in it? Because for me, for example, I feel like all of my male friends are attractive. They're amazing. But if you put one of them naked next to me, I will run and scream. It's like, girl, my sister, that's disgusting. Like, so there's like a block over me, like a mental block. I don't think that's right or wrong, it's just what I have.
Yeah.
But you don't seem to have that block. So what do you feel like keeps that from having, and it's not saying you need to have that, but I'm saying like the concept of it.
My answer to that is I don't know. And I'm gonna figure it out. And I'm gonna get back.
We can wrap this up, and then I'm gonna have more questions for you.
Let us know if you want Donnie to come back for part 2. Because initially I thought I was gonna have to merge this with a future episode, but I think we got enough for this to be a standalone dilemma episode. So let me know if you want Donnie to come back. Let me know any questions that you have. Use hashtag ChirpseHurtsPod or hashtag AskGlow on Twitter or Threads. So let me know what you think. Or give some advice of your own to one of the dilemmas. What are the things? Follow the Instagram. Check out Donnie on Instagram. And yeah, thanks for watching. And thank you for coming on. Like,
thank you for having me.
So when I actually first started ideating this podcast in 2017, you were one of the first people I wanted to have on.
Oh wow.
And I was saving it for when I felt ready. So yeah, this is a big
amazing.
moment.
That's a lot. Honestly, that means a lot to me. And yeah, this is like, I really appreciate it. So thank you and well done. Well done for this platform.
I said I wouldn't cry today. So yeah, you're not getting that from me. But love ya! See ya, bye!